everyone, my name is Mehek. I hope you guys are doing fine and safe, and like always I also hope that you guys are reading. Back with another title that I finished. I finished reading this book, A Girl Who Reads on the Metro. It's a paperback. It's by Christine Féret-Fleury. That's the author. That's how the book look. To be honest, I really got excited reading at the title, The Girl Who Reads on the Metro. Let's quickly come to the story now, what the story is all about. So Juliette, it's set in France, Paris. Juliette is someone who lives a very ordinary and I would say a monotonous life in Paris. She works at this real estate agency. And the only interesting part of her whole day is when she takes these metro rides where she observes people, and she also likes to observe what they're reading. So this is only the interesting part of her whole day. And as like they say, you are what you read. So she likes observing people and she likes observing what they're reading. Now one day she decides, to delay her arrival at the work, and she's like, okay, let me just take a different route to work and reach a little late. It won't matter really. And so she lands upon this new block where she spots this really old rusty door. But what catches her eyes is, this door is forced open with a book. And seeing the book, obviously she cannot resist, and she enters this bookshop or a store. And thus she enters, this enchanting and mysterious world of this bookseller called Soliman and his daughter Zaide. And the next thing she knows, as soon as she enters, and suddenly she realizes that she has agreed to become this term called passeur. Now Soliman is someone who is the owner of this bookshop, and he has developed has come up with this word called it's a French word, so I think so I'm not pronouncing it right. It's called passeur or passeur. That's how it is pronounced at. So a passeur is basically a person who carries this stacks of books from Soliman's bookshop, and he or she takes this book out into the world, and using their imagination and intuition, they try to match books with different readers. So that is what a job of passeur is. And suddenly Juliette has agreed to become one. But after some self-reflection, she realizes, that she loves observing people and she loves books. So this, actually brings her two love together and basically converts her daydreaming job into an actual paying job. The next thing she quits her boring job, and she becomes a passeur. And soon Soliman also has to leave for this mysterious trip. So he requests Juliette that why don't you move into my bookshop, live here and look after my daughter. So obviously Juliette agrees to it. So yes, meeting Zaide, Soliman's daughter, and Soliman definitely shakes Juliette's life for good. Now she just has to trust fate and take her life in a new direction, because she feels that it's time for her to fly, and maybe this new opportunity or this new turn or finding Soliman and Zaide is going to take her life in a new direction. Now what happens next after she moves into a bookshop is something that you'll have to read. It's not a very long story. In fact, it is a short one, but like always, I always do not share any spoilers in my reviews. Now coming to what I didn't like about the book, I was so excited, reading the title. I thought it's going to be about this a girl, with the book in the world, and she's going to have all these adventures. She's going to meet interesting people in the bookshop or metro, and yeah, it's going to be all those fun adventures. Sadly, yeah, there was some adventure, some magic about this book, but it wasn't something that kept me satisfied as a reader. I expected so much from this book, and it was just like 200 pages. You can literally finish it in one sitting. And I was hungry for more. As a reader, I was looking for so much more. I just felt that the author, really rushed. And after Juliette moves into the bookshop, I just felt that the story kept skipping in various tangents. And at one point, I was like, where did we come here from? What the heck is happening? So yeah, you have those moments. But the good part about this book was that although it's and overall, if I have to use a word to describe this book, it's strange. So yes, the book is strange, but I never felt the book to be dull. So it never had a dull moment. It was strange, but it was not dull. And overall, I also like the message that this book gives is, which is on emphasis of book, and how book exposes you or opens your world to a lot of new opportunities and possibilities, and which exactly happened with Juliette. She has this transformation in her life which is sweet and which is inspiring. And once she enters the bookshop, and once she enters the world of book, she finds out so many things about herself as well. So that underlying message I like. One major theme in this book which I truly love is how you make this whole world a public library. So you go out and leave books for strangers, maybe on the benches of the park or anywhere in public spaces. You go and leave book for strangers to find, and they pick the book and they eventually leave it for the next reader to find, so on and so forth. And eventually you never know if you find the book back again, if it makes the journey back to you again, or it might some other reader might find it. So I really quite like that idea. In fact, I'm a part of this. So if you guys know about book fairies worldwide, they exactly do the same, wherein they leave books in the open spaces for readers to find. And I think that's an amazing concept, and I love reading books for people to find. Every time I fly, I leave books at airports, or if I'm going to a cafe or mall, I love leaving books, reading books too as well. So yeah, that was all on this really short book. I would say strange but not a dull book. Readers will enjoy because a part of it, because they're quite nice, interesting literary references in the book, interesting classic mentions that I've made a note of for my future reading. So yeah, I mean, that's all on this really strange book. I wish the author had done something more with this book. Yeah, till then, take care, bye bye. I'm going to see you guys next week with another title. Have you heard of the principle of releasing books into the wild? Turn the whole world into a library. A lovely idea, don't you think? You leave a book in a public place, a station, park bench, cinema. Someone picks it up, reads it, then releases it elsewhere a few days or even weeks later for another reader to find. And that's exactly what book fairies do as well, which I'm a part of. I love leaving books for people, for them to find. If I'm traveling, I usually drop books at airports, and if I'm going to a cafe or mall, or gardens, I love leaving books for people to find. It's always very interesting that you never know who picks up, and someone really needs that book in a way. And that is what this book, I would say the major theme is that, wherein you go out and leave books for people to find, and you never know who might which stranger might really need that book or the underlying message of that book. Yeah.